Well, good morning, everyone. Great to be with you just a week later, but thank you for joining us this morning. I have felt an absolute groundswell of support since I first announced my candidacy and run for governor just last week. The people that have reached out and have been supportive, both in comments and donations, and given me their trust and support over this next year has been absolutely impressive and exciting with the start that we have here. But today, I am very excited to announce my friend, Ryan Wilson, as my choice for Lieutenant Governor. Ryan has an impressive record of consequential wins in court. As an attorney, he has worked hard at making a difference by creating jobs as a small business owner, and he has spoken directly to Minnesotans as the closest statewide race during his run for state auditor. During the state auditor run, Ryan sounded the alarm on fraud that was spiraling out of control in our state. Fraud that was actually thriving under Tim Walz and his lack of leadership in protecting Minnesotans' hard-earned tax dollars. So the common sense message resonated with the state, and since then, though, our fraud has actually become more of a problem with that lack of leadership and accountability. It has gotten worse. But today, as we announce our joint efforts, we're ready to work together to make Minnesota stronger and to make it even a better place and a more affordable place to raise a family, to create jobs, and to ensure that Minnesotans are safe no matter where in the state they live. So without further ado, it is my honor and I am proud to introduce you to my running mate, Minnesota's next Lieutenant Governor, Ryan Wilson. Ryan.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Speaker Demuth. I am honored to be your running mate and to cross the state, sharing your vision for how Minnesota can be stronger and better than ever before. 4 years ago, I campaigned across this state, meeting with Minnesotans of every walk of life. One message I heard almost universally was that they were tired of a government that didn't seem to care about them. I heard how they worked hard for their tax dollars, for their money, and they wanted to know that it was going to help families and not fraudsters. They wanted to know that their money was going to schools to make their classrooms better and not get lost on bureaucrats. They wanted to know that their money was going to law enforcement to help keep their streets safe. They wanted a government that worked for them, not against them. When I heard Lisa's vision for Minnesota, one that lifts up all families, that takes the burdens off their shoulders, and makes Minnesota more affordable, schools more successful, and streets more safe, I knew it wasn't just a winning message. It was the right and the positive vision for Minnesota that Minnesotans have been looking for, and one that I would do whatever I could to help support. So when Lisa asked me to join her in her fight for the future of Minnesota and to be her running mate, I didn't hesitate. I told her I'm all in because Minnesota is worth fighting for. So we have some exciting things that we're going to be doing the rest of the week, and I'll turn it back over to Speaker Demuth.
Thank you, Ryan. I'm looking forward to working with you. So glad you've joined our team. And what you've heard is a common sense message that Ryan and I together are bringing what Minnesota needs. We want to make sure that Minnesota is even stronger and better than we find it. We want to make sure that Minnesota has an economy that will grow and thrive. Families can afford their lives. Our kids will receive an excellent education, opportunities and excellence for all of our students, and we are going to combat fraud here in the state of Minnesota and put an end to those tax dollars that we've seen going out. I'd like to open it up for questions that you might have for us. You can tell we are united in our vision for Minnesota. We are able to bring hope to Minnesotans in a way that they have been waiting for and are looking forward to. With that, we'll take questions.
Madam Speaker, how much was his previous election contest? You mentioned how close it was. It was the closest statewide race in Minnesota and one of the closest in the entire country. How much was that a factor?
So when we are looking at taking over and winning in 2026, it was important to come out with a team that was strong for Minnesota. Ryan's success in being the closest statewide race This last election, when he ran for state auditor, let us know that Minnesotans were looking for a change. Minnesotans want to get behind both my vision as governor and Ryan Wilson as lieutenant governor. That was a very important piece as we were building this strong team. And it's important to recognize that we are building a strong team early on. We are ready to get to work and deliver for Minnesotans. Any other questions? We are making that announcement early on, and it is important for Minnesotans to recognize that this isn't just something that I've stepped into just wanting to run for governor. I come in strong with a plan, strong with a running mate, strong with a plan for Minnesotans going forward. That is what people want. Our election is just less than a week, short of a year going forward, and that time goes quickly. We have a lot to deliver on. We will be developing our policies where we've talked about those overarching concepts and the things that we've been hearing from Minnesotans. We will be developing those, and you'll hear more in the coming weeks, the specifics, but this is what Minnesotans have been waiting for. Strong leadership from the top of our state who are ready to dig in and get to work even while on the campaign trail.
Speaker, you said you've seen a groundswell of support. Are you able to share any early fundraising numbers or anything like that?
We are well on our way to different goals that we have set for fundraising. It has been overwhelming. I won't be sharing numbers specifically with you today, but it has been overwhelming in the support that has come in just within the first few days. You were with us last week when we made this announcement, and in 1 week we are well on our way.
Ryan, what about ties to President Trump? There are groups already saying you were a lawyer for his campaign, election law, also advocated for his re-election both in 2020, 2024. Do you still stand with him?
Well, I think the Speaker made clear in her initial remarks that we would welcome President Trump's endorsement. President Trump is our president, and he's delivering on a lot of promises. We're seeing, for example, the southern border being fixed, and that's having effects here in Minnesota today. So yes, we stand by the president, and I stand by my past support of him.
Can you talk about how long you've known each other, how you met, and how you think you would work together as a team?
We've known each other over the last few years as Ryan was running for state auditor, and then as we move forward and his new assignments that he's been doing over this year. But what is very, very clear is we have values that align. As I've talked about in the past, my family and the importance of being involved in community. Ryan is a coach involved in youth sports, in addition to his accomplishments as a business owner and also as a public servant too. And so we have a number of things that align in our relationship that brought us together in a way that will serve Minnesotans in the best way possible.
Do you think it could be a competitive advantage having a running mate when Governor Walz does not?
I believe it is very much of a competitive advantage to come out with a strong team early on, and that is what we have done. We have not taken this responsibility of running for office lightly. We are very serious in what we're doing, and so the strength of our team, the Demuth-Wilson ticket, is already being proven from this day forward.
Do you think it'll push him to pick someone or make it
We are focused on the work that we have to do for Minnesotans, and that is where our focus is completely on right now.
Ryan, did you learn anything from your close election of 2022 about how to appeal to moderates and independents?
Yeah, I think the key was in that race and this race and really all races in Minnesota is to have a vision that's a positive vision for how to move forward. I mean, sure, there are a lot of things that Governor Walz has done wrong, and we could be up here all day going through the fraud and the waste and the abuse. But I think people want to hear, well, what else or what comes next? And as part of that auditor's race, we talked about how were we going to get more money to schools and how are we going to help strengthen schools and strengthen our police and make sure things like, roads and bridges and projects are on schedule and on budget. And so people wanted to know how things were going to work better, not just how things are working bad today. And I think that's going to be a key part of our campaign is expressing Lisa's vision, our vision for how that can be a stronger, better Minnesota.
The issue of fraud, one of your competitors for the Republican endorsement is chair of the fraud committee. Does this help you on the fraud issue?
So as House Republicans took the tie this last year, it was priority to me that we would set up a fraud prevention and agency oversight committee. And that is what I did as Speaker of the House. Because of, as you remember, just a year ago, even though we were in a tie, the House went then from tie to 67-66. That gave us the advantage of gaining a full speaker for the 2 years in Republican control. It also allowed us to establish the Fraud Prevention and Agency Oversight Committee with a Republican as chair and a Republican majority over the entire 2 years of the legislative session. I chose Kristen Robbins to chair that committee, that she would be able to dig in and work on fraud. That is what we have seen. Our strength that the Demuth-Wilson ticket bring forward is Ryan's work already, acknowledging fraud back into his campaign, and the work that we have done, me as Speaker, and then going forward. Fraud is something that Minnesota taxpayers are tired of funding. We are tired of watching it happen here to our state, where our tax dollars are going out to fraudsters instead of actually going to the people that need those services the most. We're going to come out very strong on a number of issues, including fraud. Any other questions for us? Thank you very much for being here. We so appreciate it. This is a strong ticket. We are excited for the work ahead. Stay tuned as far as our policies as we start developing those more specifically in future press conferences. Thank you very much.